Hmm.
Welcome to the Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Do you want to step up your game? Pursue your dreams. Be the best version of yourself. The Reinvented Life is here to help. The Reinvented Life is about courage. It's about staying relevant. It takes grit. It defies gravity. It's about taking inventory of where you are today and where you want to go. Embrace change. Make things possible and reinvent your life. Call in with questions at 888-994-4995. Now, it's time to reinvent your life with Pamela Chanel.
Well, happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to the Reinvented Life. We are in the second week of January, getting close to halfway through this month already. Time is flying. 2021 is underway, and I'm delighted to welcome everyone today, as always, to the Reinvented Life. For our listeners and our viewers, you know that it is all about embracing change and making all things possible by staying relevant. And that's really what I'm excited you to hear from our guest today about is staying relevant. I'm going to introduce you to Sue Rosengard. She is coming to us from Chicago, Illinois, and Sue is a jewelry designer. So when your business is based on designing and the arts during a time that you no longer are in person, it can be a very challenging time. But she has really managed to reinvent herself. So I welcome to us today Sue Rosengard. As I say, she's coming from Chicago, Illinois, and we are in her studio, front and forward. Welcome, Sue, to the Reinvented Life. I'm not sure we're able to get sound here, so we'll double check on that. But what I will share
Okay.
with you, do we have sound?
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Yes, we
Okay.
can. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. It's an honor.
Oh, it's our honor to have you. And as I was just mentioning, we are getting a very sneak peek here into your Chicago, Illinois studio, where you have spent many years designing jewelry and just a huge contribution to the arts. So let's start with that. How did you get started as a jewelry designer?
It was really kind of happenstance. I was living and working in New York City. I was in my mid to late 20s. Was kind of bored with the job I had, and I saw an opportunity to take an intensive metalsmithing class at night, fit into my schedule. It was only for 2 weeks, but like 3, 4 hours a night for 2 weeks straight. And I immediately knew that I loved it. I was fascinated. I liked making things, and it was great. And of course, I always liked to wear and buy jewelry, so it was a perfect fit. Um, I spent a couple more years in New York, took some adult ed classes, and then moved back to Chicago. And in that interim time, I was doing a kind of, it was a hobby, and then it transitioned into part time, and then eventually it was a full time job, and it has been for almost 30 years now.
Wow, amazing. And sounds like it started out in a way, kind of come full circle to where we are now, which is in a process of reinventing from a part time, just night class to 30 years of full time. So, one of the things that is really on people's minds right now is how do they take their businesses and make them relevant? So, if you could share a little bit about what over these 30 years your business has been. I've followed you, and I know you were very present at many, many trade shows and on sites and with retailers. And so, if you could share a little bit for people how you were doing business and maybe where it's leaning towards now.
Yes, absolutely. When I first started out, I did some retail art fairs and I sold directly to the public. I was primarily under a tent at a street fair type of a situation. And then I transitioned into doing wholesale. I would come up with a selection of merchandise that I could reproduce. That I decided that that was the route that I wanted to take versus one of a kind. And I would come up with samples. I'd go to New York, I'd go to Philadelphia and Atlanta, Dallas, various cities over the years, set up my wares, and took orders to ship in the future. Over the years, I would say that about 80% of, most of the time, about 80% of my business was selling to stores. Museum stores, craft galleries, and small boutiques were generally the type of store that I was selling to. Not big box stores, not a Macy's or a Marshall Fields type of thing. It was more unique and more of a different type of customer that I was looking for. And it fluctuated over the years. Sometimes there would be, I still kept doing the retail shows because I felt that that was a really good way to try out new work, see what was selling, what did well. I put into the production line for the stores. And it also gave me a chance to do some one of a kind things that would I would never sell to stores anyway. So it ebbed and flowed between an 80-20 and a 60-40. And then as I was getting older, let's just say, I decided that I was sick of going to wholesale trade shows. It's very grueling. The whole month of November and December, which is the biggest time to be selling direct to customers, like off my website or at holiday shows, I was also having to work on new samples for the shows that I would go to in January. And I just get wanted to get off that hamster wheel. So I decided actually pre-pandemic that I was not going to do any more wholesale shows. And I would concentrate on retail and my existing wholesale customers.
So it's interesting, even before the pandemic hit, you've been reinventing what you're doing. And I know you have a huge following. So people I know now from, I know all over the country and probably all over the world follow you. You have some gorgeous signature pieces. I'm actually wearing one of them, which I love. This,
Cool.
I think it's called the Storm Cuff. But what strikes me about your pieces, and I'd love you to touch on, is how timeless they are. I'm sure times in your life that you've spent, I know you spent some time early on in your life in Paris and in other places. These pieces are almost architectural in the sense that they're just statement pieces. And so I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about that as an artist, where you get all your inspiration from.
I think that growing up in Chicago with all the wonderful architecture that we have here, even though I was maybe when I was an adolescent, a teenager in college, I wasn't conscious of absorbing all of that beauty around me, but I did, and I think it has worked its way into things. I was also very interested in math when I was in as a younger person in high school and in college. And I liked lines and I liked angles, curves, straight, whatever. And I really can see that in my wire jewelry designs, which are kind of my signature look. And geometry and nature never goes out of style. And when you look at a modern skyscraper or just the curves of leaves and flower petals, it's timeless. And
Yes.
it also fits into, so that's the aesthetic part. And then the philosophy part, I think, is that I don't ever want to design a piece of jewelry that would be like on trend. I mean, I want it to look good, but I want something. I mean, I see people occasionally, or customers come up to me at a show wearing jewelry that's 20 years old and it still looks relevant. And I think that's what's really timeless and wonderful about being able to design something that doesn't go out of style.
It's so true. I mean, I've worn this to dressy events, I've worn this casual, and no matter when I wear it, it attracts people's eye. It's just an amazing piece. And I think the mixed metals
Thank you.
part of it, it really makes it timeless. And I know that there's other parts that people can see on your website that you do. But how do people now find you? Less in maybe trade show atmospheres, but more online. How has that developed, and where do they find you, and what can they see when they do find you?
Well, I have a Facebook. I have been developing my social media and my following from as long as I can remember. Back before email, I used to send out snail mail postcards, and then that transitioned to emails. So I really tried to get the email of people who buy from me or who are interested in me, and I keep them. And I have a Facebook page that people follow me on, and the last couple of years I've been working on my Instagram following, and the two are tied together. And then I have a really good email list. So I do try to stay in touch with my customers through all three of those means, and that keeps me in touch with them. And it directs them basically to my website where they can purchase. And I'm having a sale right now, so I've been promoting that the last couple of weeks. I'm starting to try Facebook ads, although it is a bit of a black hole to descend into because it's very confusing and frustrating. But I'm trying, and I actually did my first Instagram reel last night. Not I didn't have a clue, and I thought, oh well, if it doesn't look good, I'll just delete it. And it got some
Uh,
reaction, so that was good. It's it's
it's
kind of
great. I love it.
it thanks. And and
It's fun when you try new things, and that's what this is all about. It's just
right.
having people get open. And I know what you're describing, whether you're going from, like you said, snail mail to email to now social media sites and all of the newest video options and stuff, the TikToks of the world and the reels and everything that's out there. It's all describing what we do, which is a constant flow, a constant reinventing of how you reach your customers. It's almost like you're having online trunk shows in a way.
Yes, yes. I did a number of videos over the holidays for a virtual show that I did. It was my biggest show of the year, is the One of a Kind show. It's a 4-day event at the Merchandise Mart, and it's been going on over 20 years, and I've done the majority of them. And it's grueling hard work, a lot of prep, long hours, but it's really fun. It's busy the whole show. And I usually have a friend helping me in my booth, and we just, sync together. Well, that didn't go on because of the pandemic, but they put on a virtual show. And they asked us to do videos about our work that they could broadcast during the video or during the virtual show. And then I have two of the museum stores that I sell to also did virtual shows, and I prepared videos that were geared towards their online presence as well. And so there was a lot of takes. We were on like take 10, and it was just, and it gets a little frustrating, especially when your first take was good except for 1 second or 2 seconds, and you have to redo it. But it's like you said, it's all a learning curve, and it's reinventing
Yeah,
and figuring it out.
for
And if
sure.
you don't try it, it's never going to happen. And I always like to think of myself as a person who tries to make it happen, whatever that it is.
It shows up. I have watched you for years, and it shows up. And it's not just the jewelry that you are designing, which is so lovely, but it's really more of a lifestyle. It's more about who is your customer? What are they looking for? Have you seen those trends change over the years with customers?
Um, I always feel like my customer demographic is kind of like me. So it's definitely for the most part, somebody who is 40 and over, who has some disposable income, who's more of a professional than not. And they like to purchase jewelry that is a little out of the ordinary. They want some individuality, but not too wacky and not too out there. So just enough to be noticed without being, I don't want to say stared at, but just being too outrageous.
Yeah, too conspicuous, but still have
That's right.
some design and fun to it. That's
Yeah.
great. And how
Sometimes I use,
has, no, go ahead,
go
please.
I like to use the word subtle drama sometimes.
Ah,
That kind of describes it.
that's actually a perfect description to your jewelry. I find it can look very dramatic. Like this piece, as an example, you can wear it, as I mentioned, even on just a long sleeve T-shirt, and it suddenly shifts the whole look of what you have going on. So
Yeah.
it's fun, and there's a certain energy about your pieces. I know even your earrings, sometimes the ones that have multiple layers to them, the angles that people get when they move their heads with them. I find it really fascinating. It's very dynamic in nature.
Yeah, it can
So
tend to be. And I also try for very lightweight jewelry. I don't think anybody really likes to wear heavy earrings, at least. A necklace or a bracelet can have a little bit more substance and weight to it, I feel. But having a lightweight earring is just very comfortable, and you can go about your day without feeling encumbered with anything.
it's almost like you don't feel you're wearing it. I don't know if you have
Exactly.
some design samples right there you can show, but I know you have shows going on. You have a virtual show going on right now. If there's anything you'd like to show us, we'd love to see it.
Sure. Sure, sure. Well, I'll show you a few things that are, so these are some of my tried and true pieces. Okay, which way? This way? This way. Sorry. These are some of my tumbleweed collection. They are tiny little balls. They're all handmade of gold-filled wire and sterling silver. And these have been really great sellers. I can take one off again. I don't know how well it's going to translate here. There we
There you
go.
go. Perfect. Very.
Okay, so that's that. We do that short and long, gold and silver. And then here are some of a couple of pieces that I have on the gemstone sale right now. So these are a little bit outside my uh, normal look. I do like color and I like sparkle. So this is an Amazonite and peridot necklace, and you can see these a little bit better. Um, a pair of
Beautiful.
earrings. Those are on my website. And this is a long, very long labradorite necklace with a really giant pearl. Sorry, I keep getting that off
Oh,
there. So
that's
that's really
beautiful.
gorgeous. Thank you. And then here I'll show you just a couple more things that are, this is a selection
We,
of, sorry, what?
that's okay. You can just move it towards
Clearly.
the other board. That's perfect right there. Yep.
Thanks. So these are double rings, and we've got a necklace, and we also do them in a mixed metal. I also have a really nice collection of stud earrings that are on my website. They come in
Beautiful.
different finishes. So I think that's a pretty good selection. And I have some one of a kind bracelets that are on my website. I like to do a lot of silver and gold combos, like what I'm wearing. This is a brand new necklace we don't even have on the website yet. It was just created yesterday. It's kind of my version of the paper clip necklace, which is really popular. And I mean, that's something that's trending right now, but I like to put my own twist on things and do something
Yes.
that after the paperclip trend necklace is over, you're not going to feel like your Sue Rosengard necklace is outdated. You can
Is
still
too
wear it.
dated,
So,
yes.
right. So,
And I know it's fun to layer pieces. I have a very small paper clip necklace with one of your pieces of Judaica as an example. So it's kind of fun to mix things together. And what I love is that there's no rules. And whether it's with your business or within life right now, I think one of the trends that we're seeing is that there is no rules. And when you're passionate about something, as you are about jewelry design, you can actually take it to a new level. And even in your business that has been there for 30 years, you taking it almost all online at this point and creating new trunk shows and new places for people to see what you have is how people can reinvent what they're doing. So I love hearing this. Um, and you have been really a business that did a lot of travel, and since that's such a limitation for people right now, you haven't limited yourself at all. And that's the key that I want our viewers and our listeners to see, is that if your business or if your life is manifesting itself in one way, you could literally, with one decision, shift how it's done. And so that's what I love. You've taken a business, you are everywhere. I would get a trunk show schedule and you'd be in all sorts of major cities all the time. So I'm
that's
sure
true.
it's different, but you're definitely finding the best of it and are already identified what was going to be better for you in your business anyway.
Yes, and I'm really enjoying things right now. I feel like I've almost been more creative the last 9, 10 months since the pandemic than I had been in the previous 10 years. So
Wow.
it makes coming to work or to my studio not really work. I enjoy it. And that I think is a huge thing to be able to have in life, to be able to do something you enjoy and not have it feel like work.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the goal. That's the goal of what life is to spend the time, spend your days in purpose, inspiring people, inspiring yourself, enjoying your life. And with all of the difficulties that many people have had to face with the pandemic, the one thought we're hearing a lot of, and you just said it again, is the creativity that has come out of this space. People can be more creative, they can be more focused, they have less time on the road, they have more time to focus on whatever that may be that's truly important to them. So I love that. I love in such a creative business as the arts, you are still finding new ways to be creative. And I think that's so valuable for people.
Great, great. It is. And I think that the majority of artists that I know have been able to pivot, as they say, and still take care of business. I mean, I think you you need to. It's not going to come to you. You need to, like we said before, make it happen, and go out there and learn new things. If it means Facebook ads and how to do an Instagram reel, or coming up with a website if you never have one, or trying to find your customer base if in case you never got everybody's emails. There are ways. You just need to go out there and persevere and make it happen.
Well, to
I
be
think.
intentional, that's what I'm hearing from you, is
Yeah.
that you're intentional about the ways that you're spending your day and your time. Do you have any tips for our listeners and our viewers about that, of how to stay in purpose? And you've been in your business a long time, you've been creating for a long time, but to keep it fresh and keep it relevant, do you have any tips for people?
I think to not get discouraged because mistakes are going to be made, and sometimes decisions you make or specific things you do may not yield the results that you're looking for, but you should learn from that and move on. And just learn to try not to make the same mistake again. Other mistakes are going to come up, and learn from them and try something new, and to just keep going. I think that don't get discouraged, don't feel sorry for yourself, keep pushing.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful to live by that adage of there are no failures. There are only times that you win and times that you learn. And that perseverance that you have had is incredible. It does show up in your design as well. Like you said, the lines, the curves, everything about it shows that timelessness to what you're doing. So it's just beautiful. I could talk to you all day long, but what I want to do is close with how do people find you? I know they can go to SueRosengard.com. They can
Yes.
find you on the Facebook group. Is that Sue Rosengard Jewelry, or where do they find you?
Yes. Yes, exactly. And the same name for Instagram as well, Sue Rosengard Jewelry.
Good. That's
And I,
SueRosengard. So
yes, it is. It is. And I am still in stores and galleries around the country, even though I don't really know who is open and who isn't open. You know, things are changing every day with shutdowns and lockdowns and local ordinances and all. But I don't have my, unfortunately, at the moment, I don't have my retailers list current on my website, but you can just buy directly from me. I
good.
sell at the Art Institute of Chicago. They have a lot of my pieces online. The Milwaukee Museum of Art has some of my pieces online. And if you want to see things in person, the best is to send me an email. You can contact me through my website, and I could try to guide you to some local retailers that may have some pieces.
Beautiful. Or even someone might be able to schedule a tour of your gallery and you can take someone
Oh,
through possibly and show them.
yes, of course. I am open by appointment, and there's a
Beautiful.
booking app on my website. You can sign up for my emails, and that way you can stay up to date on if I am doing any shows, if I'm having any special events, and definitely if I'm having any sales. I am scheduled to do a trunk show February 6th and 7th in Three Oaks, Michigan. It's about 85
Ah,
miles from Chicago. It's a charming little town. It's a kind of a Chicago area vacation area. It's called Harbor Country, the whole general area there. And it's a store called Goods and Heroes. It's on my website, and that
fantastic.
information is there. They have clothing and books and jewelry, of course.
Good.
So there'll be a trunk show for 2 days. It's the weekend before Valentine's Day, so the timing is good.
Perfect timing. Well, we'll put the information up on our website for a while
Great.
too,
Thank you.
thereinventedlife.com. Sue, thank you for being on today. Have a very wonderful day. I will tell all our viewers and listeners this is your birthday, so we're wishing you happy,
Ah.
happy birthday. And
Thank you, Pamela.
thank you for celebrating with us today.
All
Thank
right.
you to everyone for being with us today. And Sue is a perfect example of someone that is pivoting, that is reinventing, and taking what she has done for many, many years and embracing change to make all things possible. We will talk to you soon. And again, have a great week and make the most of every single day.
Thank you for tuning in to The Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Tune in each week so we can work and grow together to become the best version of ourselves. Keep striving, keep dreaming, keep working, and embrace change. You may contact Pamela Chanel at info@thereinventedlife.com.
Yo quiero volver a nace en mi camino.